Hey everybody, what's going on? Great to see you all again. For those of you that may be saying, hey, wait a minute, who's that good looking dude on the screen? My name is Doug Basham. My website is dougbasham.com. Last name spelled B as in Bob, Asham as in Mary. dougbasham.com. My email, doug@dougbasham.com. I am filling in for Brian Shapiro today, and tomorrow we'll get to why momentarily. But for those who aren't aware, I am still a card-carrying member of the Enemy Within Brigade, also known as one radical leftist lunatic who needs to be handled by the American military. I welcome you all to day 242 of Morning in America. Morning spelt with a U, of course, as all true patriots who sincerely love this country continue to wave goodbye to their democracy and anxiously await the stroke and or heart attack that just might save America. And just so you know, up until the end of November of last year, 3 weeks after the Orange Hemorrhoid won the 2024 election, I did a show right here on KSHP. In fact, I was on the hour before Brian. However, after the election, and after having been on the air every day, the entire 4 years of the Trump administration, and then the 4 years of the Biden administration, when Trump was still sucking all the oxygen out of every room, I decided I was not going to enmesh and ensconce myself in another 4 years of Trump's filth, criminality, laziness, serial lying, malignant narcissism, and frankly, authoritarian democracy-killing treason. Just didn't think I could do it. However, filling in for a day or two every now and then, that I think I can do. We'll be all right. 221-7283 is our call-in number here at the station, folks. If you would like to talk on the radio in a little bit, that's 702-221-SAVE. And I got to say, I listen to Brian's show whenever I can. And I have become very impressed with not only the community he's created, but the number and quality of listeners who have become regular callers. And I hope you'll feel as comfortable talking to me as you do Brian. I hope the fact that I'm not so much better or more handsome than Brian intimidates you or stop you from calling in. Again, the number 702-221-SAVE, as in, when it was time to save our democracy, we didn't. As I just mentioned, I'm filling in for Brian both today and tomorrow. Apparently, Brian flew to Colorado yesterday, as I understand it, to attend a Turning Point USA event. And we have heard that given that Charlie Kirk let it be known in his will that he desired to be cremated, in his honor, they have changed the name of this weekend's event to Burning Point USA. What? Too soon? Give me a break. There is nothing I can say about Charlie Kirk today that will come even close to what Donald Trump said and did to Charlie Kirk. And we'll get to that momentarily. Right now, I think it's time for us to get to our broken news of the day.
The wildfire.
And I have a bit of a confession, folks. I had today's show all prepped and scripted. And yes, I script my shows. I put my shows together as if they were a cable news show. My shows are very clip, sound, and video heavy. So I need to know what I'm going to say before, what I'm going to say after. So I script the show, and it's all very tight. Difference is I don't have a teleprompter, which makes it look like you're looking at the camera when you're really reading your script. So if my eyes wander off, now you know why. Plus, when you're sitting across from a handsome devil like this, it's real easy to become distracted. You know what I'm saying? Been a while, hasn't it, Houston? 8 months, good Lord. Anyhow, I have a confession. I actually had a couple of Jimmy Kimmel clips all written into the original show I planned. But then last night, the new Jimmy Kimmel story broke. And I got to tell you, it is nothing but a gigantic colossal, gargantuan crock of bullshit, which we will prove today definitively. But anyway, when this story broke, I said, well, what are you going to do? So what I decided is we're going to start with what I had planned for today before the new Jimmy Kimmel story broke. When we get to those Kimmel bites I had already lined up, we'll jump to the new story and then try and find our way back to where we left off before we went. I think I just confused myself. But I got to apologize to Justin. We are going to be jumping around here. And like I just said, we haven't worked together for 8 months. So this show was bound to be a little rusty from the get-go. But the way I've messed the script up, it's going to be a challenge. And I just apologize in advance. But no question, the most shocking story of the current Trump administration was the shooting death of right-wing provocateur Charlie Kirk, otherwise known as the first school shooting the right has ever really given a shit about. And I realize this story has received its fair share of coverage in both legitimate media and right-wing media. But hey, I've been waiting 8 months to have my say on, well, anything, and this is where I want to start. And let's get this out of the way from the get-go. To most decent and normal people, those who haven't surrendered their souls and ability to think for themselves to the lie and hate-filled cesspool known as the right-wing propaganda hate media, Charlie Kirk was a bad guy. In my not always humble opinion, he was a reprehensible human being, a grifter, a huckster, and a charlatan. And I got to say, if you don't like some of the things I have to say about Charlie today, all of which will be accompanied by receipts, as in Kirk's actual words, please spare me your selective outrage. And what? Are you actually suggesting I display what? Some empathy? Charlie wouldn't want that.
Instead, it is to say you're actually not in pain. So let's just very short clip. Bill Clinton in the 1990s, it was all about empathy and sympathy. I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage, but it is very effective when it comes to politics.
What an unadulterated crock of Shiite. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage. Jesus, this is what passes for a conservative academic or intellectual. But I'll tell you what, let's listen to a collage of Charlie's greatest hits. And as you do, and this is for those of you who haven't seen Charlie that much, here's a couple things to watch for. Number one, as he's speaking, every 6 or 7 seconds or so, he curls one side of his mouth up, kind of like the Joker in Batman. Secondly, Charlie seldom smiles. He smirks. Every time he speaks and delivers one of his intellectual zingers like, I think empathy is a made-up word. Watch how his mouth becomes a self-satisfying smirk. In fact, I'm surprised no one came up with the nickname Charlie Smirk for him.
Comparing abortion to the Holocaust.
Absolutely I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse. Were these blacks trying to go rob her? Happening all the time in urban America. Prowling blacks go around for fun to go target white people. That's a fact. Black crime is a major issue in our country. Why are you pushing criminal justice reform exactly? Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson, they're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Now, the southern border is, of course, the great replacement. They're trying to replace us demographically. They're trying to make the country less white. It is an anti-white agenda. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Taylor Swift is now engaged to Travis Kelce. This is something that I hope will make Taylor Swift more conservative. Reject feminism. Submit to your husband, Taylor. You're not in charge.
Boy, what a joy it must have been to have been married to this misogynist, right? I mean, at one of his past rallies, someone asked him if America was becoming more misogynistic. Kirk looked at one of his aides and said, let's ask this bitch. Apparently, Charlie once said, "I really hate it when the inferior sex accuses me of being misogynistic." Charlie thought linoleum floors and women were the same. You lay them right the first time, and then you can walk all over them for the next 20 years. And that reminds me, the Turks invented sex. Then the Greeks improved it by removing the sheep and adding lubrication. The Romans perfected it by discovering you could have it with women too. The French then ruined it by adding snobby condescension. The British made it worse by adding shame. And after that, the Americans made it terrible by making it a commodity. And finally, the Trumpers have completely ruined it by putting the sheep back in. And speaking of Kirk's wife, didn't you find this photo of Kirk's wife, Erica, draped over Charlie's coffin a little, I don't know, odd, to say the least? I mean, putting aside the fact she looks like she just came from her karate lesson, doesn't it look like a lot of thought went into this photo? And by that, I mean, doesn't it look staged? And that wasn't the only thing I found concerning about Mrs. Kirk. I found the entire farewell to her husband speech a little weird and, frankly, discomforting. Mrs. Kirk not only has every intention, in my view, of keeping her husband's Turning Point USA grift going, but to milk it for every single dollar she can squeeze out of it. There's one cut from her speech I'd like to play now.
I want to thank my husband's dear friend, Vice President Vance, and his phenomenal wife, Usha, for their love and support. You guys honored my husband so well bringing him home. You both are tremendous. I want to thank President Trump and his incredible family for the same. Mr. President, my husband loved you. And he knew that you loved him too. He did. Your friendship was amazing. You supported him so well, as did he for you.
You know, my first reaction to this was, we have called the Trump base a cult for the longest time now. This speech was just part and parcel of that sick and sickening, oxygen-stealing, stomach-churning Trump cult. She lavishes praise on J.D. Vance, and she damn near dislocated her shoulder trying to pat Trump on the back. This is a sick, twisted cult that we are being forced to live in because of the fact Donnie Moscow is the president. I found her entire speech to be slavish and disturbing. I mean, all this praise for someone who wasn't even a part of the administration. And when she said, "Oh, and my husband knew you loved him too," I couldn't help recall a couple things. First, this is what Trump posted on social media. Quote, "The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the U.S. better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and is no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you," end quote. Whew. So I'll tell you what, let's see exactly how much this feral shouting meatball really loved Charlie Kirk. And here's where the first ironic Kimmel clip comes in.
Between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. Okay. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction.
I'm sorry. If you can't see that there is something seriously wrong with this orange fat slob, we need to be as concerned with your frame of mind as we do the orange gut wagons. Seriously, folks, WTF is wrong with this guy. He's asked about someone he supposedly earlier in the day said that he loved. And he is so lacking in just normal human emotions, he can't even fake even an ounce of compassion or empathy. And instead, when he's asked how he's holding up, which, by the way, I thought was a stupid, weak, and cowardly question, typical of today's media, and this one was designed to curry favor with Trump, he offers 4 empty words. I think very good. And then he immediately starts a stupid brag fest about his stupid ballroom. I mean, he issues the prerequisite post on social media attesting to his love for Kirk. And then 5 minutes later, Charlie who? Who cares? Let me tell you about my ballroom. I mean, Trumpers, can you not see what an empty shell of a hollow, vacant, and piss-poor, pathetic excuse for a human being this guy is? And all these online memes that show Trump as Rambo or Superman or Rocky. I mean, you are at least 17 different kinds of stupid if you're not tempted to either upchuck or break into hysterics every time you see one. And the sad part of this is it was completely predictable. As the insufferable, incurable, malignant narcissist Trump is, he is incapable of anything other than making everything about himself. Even Charlie Kirk's death, the guy he said he loved. And so getting back to something I said a few minutes ago regarding some of you not liking some of the things I might say about Charlie Kirk, nothing I can say today will even compare to what you just heard Trump say and do. Nothing. At least I'm honest about how I feel. And we have just begun listening to some of the atrocities that drooled from Charlie Kirk's smirking mouth, which was also the name of his band, by the way, Charlie Kirk Smirking Mouth. I like it. It has a ring. Now, on the other side of the coin, perhaps it is somewhat comforting, rewarding even, to learn that every time we have said Trump doesn't give a good goddamn about anyone or anything but himself, we were spot on. Yay, us. He doesn't care any more about Charlie Kirk than he does our servicemen and women who give their all for this country or school children who are shot and killed. Oh, and Benedict Donald wasn't finished, and neither was Jimmy Kimmel.
This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay? And it didn't just happen once.
When I heard it, I was in the midst of, building a great, for 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom at the White House, right? They don't have a ballroom. They have to use tents on the lawn for President Xi when he comes over. If it rains, it's a wipeout. And so I was with the architects that would design. It's going to be incredible. And they came in, they said, Charlie Kirk is dead. I didn't know what they meant. I said, what do you mean dead? Charlie Kirk was shot. And they thought he was dead because it was so horrific, And I said, dead.
And then we installed the most beautiful chandelier, sconces you wouldn't believe.
And I said, dead, dead, dead. I mean, Jesus. He drones on with all his ballroom bullshitsky, and then he tries to act empathetic. And as per usual, he fails miserably. Why? Because he is incapable of expressing any. It doesn't exist within him. All that does exist within him is him, and him. I mean, whoever his acting coach was should be fired immediately after that. How did Elon Musk Doge miss them? Dead, dead, dead. I mean, my Lord. And by the way, you know what Doge stands for? Destroying our government's efficiency. In any event, let's continue with Charlie's greatest hits.
America was at its peak when we halted immigration for 40 years and we dropped our foreign-born percentage to its lowest level ever.
Miss Rachel, you quote Leviticus 19, love your neighbor as yourself. The chapter before affirms God's perfect law when it comes to sexual matters. In Leviticus 18 is that thou shalt lay with another man shall be stoned to death. Can we get that picture up, Ryan, of that Marvel's Avenger team? Now, I don't know who the person is on the left. Is the person on the left that came and did the interview with Joe? The TikTok? Your government is being run by freaks. It's like immediately I have like a flashback to a country where weren't able to do Bud Light commercials. I do think that there is a direct correlation between someone's testosterone and their politics. On young men, the lower their testosterone, the more likely they are to be Democratic.
So if you had a daughter and she was 10 and she got raped and she was going to give birth and she was and she was going to give birth and she was going to live, would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
It's a real life scenario that happens to many people.
The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered. When blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today, they were less murderous, there was less break-ins. Why is that?
So I'm sorry, are you trying to say that blacks thrive under subjugation?
No, I'm not. I'm saying I'm asking you the question. The data shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened? Something changed.
What does being trans even mean? Is that even a real thing? It means you need therapy. We must ban trans-affirming care the entire country. I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends, the administration.
Of course you are. And it's not because you trust these Trump criminals. It's because selling your soul to them and parroting their lies is what puts the most money in your pocket. I mean, imagine what Kirk's listeners would say if he said, this whole Jeffrey Epstein cover-up stinks. Huh? And with professional grifters like Kirk and Trump, the commonality they share is they will say and do whatever they think will benefit them the most at any given time, in any given situation. What will either make them look the best or put the most money in their pockets. And again, this speaks to the biggest problem this country now faces and has for decades. I want to expand on that. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. But I got a lot to say about what I believe is the biggest problem this country faces, has for decades, and that nothing, and I mean nothing, will change until this is rectified. Now, as for what Charlie said, what was it, the comment second to the last where he was trashing the trans and LGBTQ community, it reminded me, what do you call a lesbian on fire? LGBTQ. My seldom opinion, Charlie Kirk was just another grifter who devised a way to fleece the rubes, dupes, and suckers on the right out of their hard-earned money. Like the carrot-colored clown himself, Kirk told his followers what they wanted to hear. And whether or not he believed the drivel he peddled, number one, who cares? Number two, he was consistent. If you asked Charlie why the chicken crossed the road, he'd say it was to escape liberal propaganda. And he was like that from a young age. When he was just a little boy, you know how he played hide and seek? He hid from the facts and sought validation. Charlie Kirk said Martin Luther King was awful and that the 1964 Civil Rights Act was a mistake. If you ask Charlie why we hit something when it doesn't work, he'd likely tell you it worked with slavery. Kirk thought blacks were educated because so many of them had masters. He referred to slavery as a lifetime unpaid internship. Add to that, here's what Kirk had to say about George Floyd.
We're going to offer some context and some nuance about the death of George Floyd that no one dares to say out loud, which is that this guy was a scumbag.
I held up 8. I meant to hold up 9. Hey, we've been rolling along. It's been a lot less rusty than we thought. What, we're almost a half an hour in and this is our first kind of mistake? That's not bad. I call that a win. Number 9. Oh, that was number 9? Oh, well, that's not good. That's supposed to be Kirk saying, George Floyd was a scumbag.
We're going to offer some context and some nuance about the death of George.
Oh, no, that was it.
We're going to offer some context and some nuance about the death of George Floyd that no one dares to say out loud, which is that this guy was a scumbag.
I didn't put the card before that away and I held it up a second time. That was on me, not Justin. You know him as Nunchuck. What do you prefer? What I've noticed is that everybody says numchuck. The word is nunchuck. If you're talking about those things that Bruce Lee, you like, oh, you're numb. I guess so. I get you. Okay, now are we? Oh, okay. I know what I want to do next. Now I want you to hear Charlie Kirk's remarks regarding the vicious hammer attack on Paul Pelosi.
I mean, I'm looking at Politico.com. I'm looking at the New York Times. I'm looking at all these places, and there's a little bit of mention here. For example, Politico says top Republicans reject any link between GOP rhetoric and Paul Pelosi assault. Of course you should reject any link. Why is the Republican Party, why is the conservative movement to blame for gay schizophrenic nudists that are hemp jewelry makers breaking into somebody's home, or maybe not breaking into somebody's home? Why are we to blame for that exactly? And why is he still in jail? Why has he not been bailed out? By the way, if some amazing patriot out there in San Francisco or the Bay Area wants to really be a midterm hero, someone should go and bail this guy out. I bet his bail's like $30,000 or $40,000. Bail him out and then go ask him some questions.
3 things. Kirk asked why the right would be responsible for that attack on Paul Pelosi. I don't know, Charlie, just spitballing here, but maybe it was because of all the times Mango Mussolini attacked crazy Nancy Pelosi, who was the attacker's designated target. First, Trump would use social media posts like this, quote, "She is a wicked witch whose husband's journey from hell starts with her. She is a sick and demented psycho who will someday live in hell," end quote. The unspoken part being, if you want to help her get there, grab a hammer and go to town, bro. And what this attack, if you read the first part of the post, it was all because Nancy Pelosi said something about Trump stepping out of a car and he looked scared. That was it. That's all she said. And it led to that whole diatribe about her living in hell. I mean, imagine what would happen if you really insulted this slug. Second, Kirk is referring to and promulgating the right's initial conspiracy theory that the attacker and Pelosi knew each other and were gay lovers. And third, you heard Kirk ask why the attacker hadn't been bailed out yet. Keep that in mind. Kirk continued.
Bail him out and then go ask him some questions. I wonder what his bail is. They're going after him with attempted murder, political assassination, all this sort of stuff. But why is it that in Chicago, you're able to commit murder and be out the next day? Why is it that you're able to trespass, second-degree murder, arson, threat of public official, cashless bail? This happens all over San Francisco, but if you go after the Pelosi's, oh, you're let out immediately.
Okay, let me see if I got this right. If you go after the Pelosi's, you're let out immediately. How does that square with what you said in the first clip when the guy who did go after Pelosi, you're asking why he hasn't been bailed out yet? Then you turn around and say, if you go after the Pelosi's, you're out immediately. I mean, I don't get it. But I mean, do you honestly think anyone who followed Kirk and listened to his podcast would have picked up on that, picked up on any discrepancies? And there are many. Of course they wouldn't. The overall inference Kirk was making was the gay lover lie. That's all his brain-dead audience of inbreds and rednecks heard. And before we move on, of course, President Pantload did comment on the Paul Pelosi attack in as presidential a way as is possible for him.
And we'll stand up to crazy Nancy Pelosi, who ruined San Francisco. How's her husband doing, by the way? Anybody know? And she's against building a wall at our border, even though she has a wall around her house, which obviously didn't do a very good job.
Folks, I have repeatedly stated what an insufferable and incessant mewling and whiny crybaby this orange assaulter-in-chief truly is, and how he always has to play the eternal victim. I want to show you a very recent example from this week. And this story began with something Attorney General Pam Bondi said earlier this week on the Katie Miller podcast. Katie Miller just so happens to be married to a man I've called Little Hitler for years now, Trump advisor Stephen Miller. So if you've wondered and you don't know what kind of a woman would marry someone like Stephen Miller, here you go.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything, and that's across the aisle.
Whew. Katie Miller looking a little rough there. Kind of looked like she just woke up and got out of her coffin, hadn't had her early morning cup of blood. There's also a rumor that Katie Miller's vampiric husband, Stephen Miller, masturbates in front of a mirror. Bet you didn't see that coming. And you know who Stephen Miller's favorite actress is? Nicole Kidman. And did you hear what the vampire said who got a job polishing mirrors? It's not a job I ever saw myself doing. And you know, once I beat 3 vampires to death and killed the devil himself with my own bare hands. My then wife ran into the room and said, "Honey, you're supposed to give them candy." And before we bring Trump into this, let's go back to Charlie Kirk. Here's something he tweeted just last year. Quote, "Hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free." End quote. And of course, that is a fallacy. No right is absolute, including the First Amendment. You can't yell fire in a theater. You can't yell bomb in an airport. So no, all speech is absolutely not protected speech. And then there was this from one of his rallies.
I was wondering if you could talk about where you draw the line with free speech, hate speech, and slander.
It's a terrific question. My position is that even hate speech should be completely and totally allowed in our country. The most disgusting speech should absolutely be protected.
Okay, Justin and I were just talking there. I kind of got caught with not my pants down, but the mic on when I wasn't ready. Anyway, in all honesty, I don't think this was a case of Charlie Kirk trying to stand up for our Constitution. I think it was more him trying to protect himself and the hate speech he loved to use. I think it was more of a self-serving one than a patriotic one. In any event, back to Trump. He was asked about what Pam Bondi said. Here's what he had to say.
And what do you make Pam Bondi saying she's going to go after hate speech? Is that, I mean, a lot of your allies say hate speech is free speech.
You'd probably go after people like you because you treat me so unfairly. It's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart. Maybe they'll come after ABC. Well, ABC paid me $16 million recently for a form of hate speech, right? Your company paid me $16 million for a form of hate speech. So maybe they'll have to go after you. Look.
Seriously, what a whiny, mewling crybaby this guy is. You don't treat me fairly. Boo. I mean, he just wants things to be fair, folks. No, He doesn't. He doesn't want people to be fair. That's not their job. I mean, again, we go back to the online memes depicting Trump as Superman, Rocky, Rambo. I mean, can you imagine Rocky? Yo, Adrian, they're not treating me fair. They're punching back. I mean, he's just an insufferable crybaby, a child. And here's the rub. Trump knows that ABC doesn't treat him unfairly. Again, that's not their constitutional duty. They are supposed to treat him honestly, and that's what he doesn't like. He knows ABC is fair. He doesn't want fair because his ego can't stand a fair and honest analysis of him. But as the dictator of a country, they better be careful if they dare criticize him. And he is so thin-skinned and insecure, he's willing to burn this democracy to the ground in order to be all-powerful. Why do you think he wanted to be president so bad? That was the only way this abject weakling could accrue the power he so dearly lusted for. Why do you think he loves Vladimir Putin so much? Putin's a short little shit who likely couldn't beat his way out of a paper bag. But as the dictator of a country, he has almost unlimited power. And of course, the reporter you just saw talking to Trump was ABC's Jonathan Karl. He just stands there and lets Trump walk all over him. And that will be something that goes down in history alongside the abject failure of everything Trump-related. The equally dismal and miserable failure of the mainstream media. They have learned nothing after the 2016 campaign. They learned nothing after the 4 years Trump stayed in the White House. They let him dominate the 4 years Biden was in office, and now that he's back in office, they continue to prove they still haven't learned a damn thing. The history books will reflect their failure to protect our democracy and the number of times they hammered a nail into its coffin. In any case, you heard Trump bring up Jonathan Karl's employer, ABC, and the settlement ABC had come to with the orange grifter in chief, or grifter in thief. Take your pick. As fate would have it, I did a bit on this ABC settlement story back when it first broke. And this is the way I used to cover the stories I chose to cover.
Live from the entertainment capital of the world, Doug Basham.
Hey guys, Doug Basham here. My website is DougBasham.com. My email, doug@DougBasham.com. I want to recall a few events that occurred both before this year's election and after. Before, the decision by the owners of both the LA Times and the Washington Post to kill their paper's intent to publish their endorsement of Kamala Harris. After, first, Joe and Mika, the co-host of MSNBC's Morning Joe, traveling to Mar-a-Lago to make nice with Trump. Second, the decision by both Facebook and Amazon to each donate $1 million to Trump's inauguration. And third and finally, and the one we're going to focus on today, ABC's decision to settle Trump's defamation case against them for $15 million that will allegedly go towards Trump's eventual library. Man, that's a lot of coloring books. And if you haven't heard the story, it all centered around an interview on ABC's This Week back in March of this year with host George Stephanopoulos and guest Nancy Mace. Stephanopoulos called Trump a rapist, and the orange rapist took umbrage with that. Yes, he was found liable for sexual abuse, but the judge in that case, Lewis Kaplan, wrote in a subsequent ruling, quote, "The finding that Ms. Carroll failed to prove that she was raped within the meaning of the New York penal law does not mean that she failed to prove that Mr. Trump raped her, as many people commonly understand the word rape. Indeed, as the evidence at trial recounted below makes clear, the jury found that Mr. Trump, in fact, did exactly that. End quote. Apparently, rapists hate being called rapists and much prefer sexual abusers, because that's so much better. In any case, what ABC did was an abomination, and the notable part is they settled this case just one day after a magistrate judge ordered Trump and Stephanopoulos to sit for depositions next week. And what is notable about that is that's usually when Trump drops one of his myriad frivolous lawsuits. When he sued his former attorney, fixer and goon Michael Cohen for $500 million, when he was told he had to sit for a deposition, he dropped the case. ABC should have rolled their eyes and laughed when this case was brought back in March, and I'm sure they did. So what changed? Why would ABC agree to pay this grifter $15 million, one, given that Trump was likely to drop the case, and two, given that ABC was likely to win the case even if Trump didn't drop it? It was a typically stupid and frivolous Trumpy lawsuit in the first place. So what changed? The answer's simple. Trump won the election. And why would that change ABC's mind? Let me answer the question this way. Timothy Snyder is an American historian, a professor of history at Yale University, and a permanent fellow at the Institute for Human Sciences in Vienna. He is the author of several books, including this one titled On Tyranny, Lessons from the 20th Century, in which he analyzes what he calls America's turn towards authoritarianism. This book is essentially a guide for surviving and resisting this turn. And as you can see, it's a pocket-sized book, 125 pages long, and the very first chapter is titled, quote, Do Not Obey in Advance. Let me read the intro to this chapter. Quote, Most of the power of authoritarianism is freely given. In times like these, individuals think ahead about what a more repressive government will want and then offer themselves without being asked. A citizen who adapts in this way is teaching power what it can do. End quote. ABC knew that they were likely to win this case if Trump didn't drop it. But you see, that would have angered the already infuriated dictator in waiting just as much as if he had lost the case in court. And just for good measure, Trump sent this message a few days ago.
And I feel I have to do this. I shouldn't really be the one to do it. It should have been the Justice Department or somebody else, but I have to do it. It costs a lot of money to do it, but we have to straighten out the press. Our press is very corrupt. Almost as corrupt as our elections.
And so, what did ABC do? They obeyed in advance. They did their part to hold the door open and help usher fascism into America. And shame on them. And because they call themselves a news organization, double shame on them. They obeyed in advance. And do they honestly believe that Trump's going to, leave them alone now? Nonsense. The first time they report some damning truth about him, if indeed they even do, he'll attack them even more mercilessly than before. And hasn't ABC watched any of their crime shows? They should know if you pay a blackmailer once, you're letting them know their scare tactics worked, and you will end up paying them again, either in cash or maybe in this case, less critical reporting perhaps. And the worst part, who knows how many other quote-unquote news organizations will bend the knee, kiss the ring, capitulate to Trump's fascist threats, and obey in advance. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Take care. Again, the abject, miserable failure of the mainstream media to hold this grifter to account, to hold this con man, snake oil salesman accountable. The history books should not be kind. Real quick, I want to finish off Trump's response to ABC's Jonathan Cole. What does it consist of? Attacks on liberals and the usual dishonest braggadocio.
look, we want everything to be fair. It hasn't been fair. And the radical left has done tremendous damage to the country. But we're fixing it. We have right now the hottest country anywhere in the world. And remember, 1 year ago, our country was dead. And now Washington, D.C. is fixed, and I fixed it. The mayor was fine. The mayor was just fine, okay? The mayor had the sick city for many years. He's been mayor for many years. The one that fixed it was me and my people, and it is so safe. You should take your beautiful wife tonight and have dinner down there. You won't be shot. You won't be accosted. You won't even be looked at incorrectly by anybody. Washington, D.C. is safe. Now we're going to Memphis, where it's pretty rough, to put it mildly.
My Lord, is anybody listening today believing even one word of what you just heard? He alone fixed D.C. What did he fix? I mean, I'm sorry, folks. This feral shouting meatball is so full of crap, his eyeballs are brown. Right now, I am told by Justin that we have a special guest going to join us. I hope it's Nicole Mitchell. She's just such a sweetheart. Is that you, Nicole?
Unfortunately, no, it's not Nicole.
Hey,
no,
Brian.
sorry. Hey, Doug, how you doing? Thanks for filling in for me. So I'm here at the Colorado State University campus right now and debating some Turning Point people. I managed to already piss a few people off. I can't wait to play the audio when I come back. But, in all seriousness, I'm trying to have some political discourse and some good conversation. I'm sitting a few feet away from Destiny and some other influencers that are here today. And, we're hoping to have good, respectful conversation. Actually, I spoke to a lot of nice people out there so far. Charlie Kirk's vigil is tonight, I believe, 5:30. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to go to that or not. If I do go, it will be not necessarily to pay respects to Charlie Kirk, but more just for content and to talk to people. But this is a very liberal campus. Colorado State is a very liberal campus, so this will be very interesting. A lot of the people that I spoke to are very liberal. I did speak to some Turning Point people. Some of them were very nice. Some of them were not very nice.
Brian, what would you say the ratio is of liberal people to conservative people there?
I would say at least 75% liberal, based on just the people that I spoke to outside right now. But obviously, at the vigil tonight, I would imagine there will be a lot of conservatives there and a lot of Charlie Kirk supporters. There are not many Charlie Kirk supporters that are liberal.
Right.
But I've been out here.
That was probably usually the case, no matter what university he went to.
Yeah, for the most part. I've been to Fort Collins before. A friend of mine used to be the basketball coach here. It's a really nice university. So far, for the most part, everybody has been very nice. So I'll be going outside again and getting more content. And, hopefully everybody will be safe out here. And hopefully everything will run smoothly tonight. But I am glad I'm out here. I think it was important.
You said the visuals tonight. What else is going on? I mean, is this like a weekend event that continues after tonight?
No. After today, it's over. Basically, there's a lot of people with tables out there. Some people that say, Charlie Kirk was necessary. Prove me wrong. And then there's others that are saying the opposite of that. So there's good political discourse out there. I think it's going to get a little bit more busy as the day goes on, I would imagine. But I already got some pretty good stuff I'm going to play on the show Monday. Like I said, I had some reservations of being here, but I am glad I'm here. Thank you, Lynette, for that comment. I love you too. I'll be back live on Monday. I'm going to be flying back tomorrow late afternoon. And Doug, I appreciate you filling in for me. You're doing a great job.
Hey, did someone on chat say that they loved you?
Yeah, I mean, once in a while I get some love. Once in a while.
Which chat is that?
I'll tell you what, I'm getting a lot of shit from my appearance on Piers Morgan yesterday. I'll tell you that. Jeez. Oh, yeah? I went pretty hard.
Well, then you must have done something right.
I guess. I mean, I think I could have done better in some situations, but I'm just not a big Riley Gaines fan. And for those people that haven't seen it, you can go on my YouTube page. Piers Morgan Uncensored has it. And I'm going to play some excerpts of it Monday on the show. But I was at a level 10 as far as frustration yesterday on the Piers Morgan show. I tried to be respectful, but, talking to somebody like Riley Gaines, who's made millions of dollars off of attacking transgenders, I don't have a lot of respect for her. And then the other person I was debating, Jillian Michael, is another one. And Megyn Kelly was on there, and Nancy Mace called me a Democrat. And she claimed that I was one of the reasons why Charlie Kirk was murdered. Yeah, Nancy May said that. Yeah. Yeah, she was on there with Pierce. I did a little bit. She came on. They came on after, and Nancy was attacking me. But of course, I didn't have the opportunity to defend myself to her. She's a coward, and she's mentally, there's something wrong with her. And to blame somebody like me who calls out political violence every day, to blame somebody like me to what happened to Charlie Kirk is just so absurd. It's almost not even worth talking about. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, you tend to go out there and put yourself out in the open like Charlie did. Has that caused some feelings of apprehension since what happened to Charlie Kirk did?
You know, I'm lucky I have a really good friends. I do have friends, not friend. And one of them is Don Lemon.
I had a friend once.
Yeah. Don Lemon's a good friend of mine. He's been great to me. I think he's awesome. And I talked to him about this the other day, and he said, this is probably this is the best time to do something like this, and it'll probably be the most safe. So Don knows what he's talking about. He's had to deal with a lot of death threats in his life. So I listened to Don and some of my other friends, and there were a few that thought I shouldn't be out here, but most of them supported me being out here. And I'm glad I'm here. The people at the UNF America tour are just wonderful people. I have nothing but great things to say about them. They've treated me great, and the people here on the Colorado State campus have been very nice also. So far so good. Everything's going well, and everything's going well here. I'm not saying everything's going well in America. We know that's not the case, but
exactly.
Yeah.
Real quick, while I have you on the line, what was your reaction when you heard about another cancellation of a late night with Jimmy Kimmel?
Well, first of all, I know Jimmy Kimmel. It's not like we hang out and have dinner every night, but I've spoken to him multiple times. He has the Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club in Las Vegas. Jimmy Kimmel's a really good guy. And this is a joke. First of all, he was mocking Donald Trump for not showing empathy for Charlie Kirk in a moment when he was asked, how you holding up, Mr. President? And then he starts talking about the stupid ballroom, okay? And Jimmy Kimmel made a joke about that. I don't think Jimmy Kimmel did anything wrong. This is a joke. And these big companies that are caving to the Trump administration, they're nothing but a bunch of cowards. Okay, good luck getting somebody to replace Jimmy Kimmel. So Jimmy's going to be just fine. I hope he moves back to Vegas, but Jimmy's a talented guy. He's a good guy. He's going to be just fine. I'm sure he's getting paid a lot of money, but it's really dangerous because first it's Colbert, now it's Kimmel.
Yep.
There's some social media influencers that are very worried. I'm one of them. And this is a dictatorship and an oligarchy, and I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. We played that clip earlier of Trump being asked how he's holding up, and it's like, oh, fine. By the way, there's my ballroom over there. Screw Charlie Kirk. Look at my ballroom. I built this. They've been trying to build this for 150 years.
It's the same Donald Trump after 9/11 when thousands of innocent people died, where Donald Trump was bragging about how he had the tallest building in Manhattan.
Yeah.
He's utter scum, and he has no empathy for anybody, even including his own friends, apparently. So,
and you know what I would like to garner? I know that a lot of MAGA people listen to your show, and from time to time they call in. I would like them to call in today. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable because it's me and not you. They're comfortable with you. They can be comfortable with me.
Yes, Doug's a good guy. So, yeah, don't be afraid of him. I'm going to give you a quick tour of the room. This is the UNF room right here. And I'm just kind of chilling right now. I was told it was like really cold outside, and now I'm out here and I'm sweating. It's beautiful. Beautiful out there. It's really nice. Fort Collins is beautiful. It's a really nice place.
Is there free food?
No, I haven't had any free food yet. I'm very upset. No, that's not true. Actually, I had a great breakfast this morning. They've been great. But the Jimmy Kimmel stuff is very problematic. I was very shocked to hear that yesterday.
Yeah, I actually have the soundbite that caused all the furor, and I haven't gotten to it yet. But we will prove that this is all just a crock. He didn't say what they're accusing him of saying. Even if he had, it wasn't fireable. But he didn't say it. So, I mean, this is dangerous. And that guy he's got at the head of the FCC, he's dangerous.
Yeah, this is a very dangerous time in this country. We have again, and it's an oligarchy and a dictatorship. And I will say this, I said this on Piers Morgan yesterday, and I've been taking a lot of flack for saying it, but the one thing me and Charlie Kirk had in common is that he was for political discourse, even though he wasn't really willing to debate a lot of intelligent, serious people and get challenged. He did like political debate, and he wanted the people that disagreed with him to be at the front of the line. I did respect that. He didn't deserve what happened to him. I don't care what anybody says. I feel for his children. I'm not a big fan of his wife. I'm not a fan of pretty much any of what he stood for. But we cannot condone any sort of political violence on either side of the aisle. And we do need to lower the temperature. And I'm getting sick and tired of MAGA Republicans who continue to blame this on the far left, the crazy left. Donald Trump had an opportunity to bring this country together, and he continues to divide us. This is not a left problem. It's not really an American problem as much as a Donald Trump problem. If he just toned down the rhetoric and told people to knock it off, it would save lives. But he will never do that. And the right will never take responsibility for anything. It's always the left's fault. It's a transgender's fault. It's never their fault. The January 6th insurrection was peaceful, mostly peaceful, and a tourist. They tried to blame that on Antifa. They still do. So, you know, this is a party that doesn't take responsibility for anything. Why do the Democrats always have to apologize? Why do the Democrats always have to call out violence? I mean, I think they should, but both sides should be able to do that.
This has been one of my main beefs regarding Democrats for years, if not decades. The reason they have trouble in elections is because they're perceived, and not unjust or unjustly so, as being weak. I mean, it's just Democrats' idea of fighting back for too long has been, well, we'll just have to write a sternly worded letter. What does that do? For God's sake, put on the gloves, throw a punch, and fight.
Completely agree. Democrats need to toughen up, and you need to stop succumbing. And listen, I was probably a little bit over the top on the Piers Morgan show yesterday. I've had a little, I was probably a little bit over the top, but at the same time, you know, I don't respect people who grift and make money off of attacking people. And I'm sorry, that's what Riley Gaines does. Yes, I do agree. Transgender should not be, you know, transgender women should not be on the playing field. Okay, fine. You're right. Can we move on to something else now? You know, she doesn't talk about gun control. She doesn't talk about.
That's an area with which you don't disagree with her.
Well, I don't have respect for her because you talk about women's rights and you talk about women and how much you care about women and you support Donald Trump. I mean, how can you take somebody like that seriously? And I tried to make that point, and she called me a pig. And I guess that's what Piers Morgan wants. He wants that type of. I didn't go in there wanting that, but she got me really fired up.
Well, Brian, you and I have been in the business long enough to know that over the top equates with what? Ratings, eyeballs, clicks.
Yeah.
Especially in the environment we live in today. The head of our country is over the top.
I agree. You know, so maybe next time I go on Pierce, I'll tone it down a little bit. But I mean, I think that's probably what he wants, but it's not what I want. I don't want three people talking at the same time. I don't want to be attacked by three MAGAs at the same time. You know, it happened to me last time when, you know, Jack Posobiec was on with Tatum. You know, it's irregular. They don't let you finish a sentence. They talk over you. And then usually Pierce sides with somebody on the right. So it's usually not very balanced. I did the best I could yesterday under some tough circumstances. And if you guys want to see that, you can go to my YouTube page, which is at PTL Radio Show. But Doug, I'll let you get back to it. I appreciate you filling in for me. Doug will also be doing the show tomorrow, and I'll be back on the air live Monday. Doug, you're doing a great job. Keep up the great work, my friend. And guys, please call in and talk to Doug. Doug wants the phone calls. So, and MAGA, don't be afraid to call in.
No.
Don't be afraid.
I'm just a softie at heart.
Doug, it's good to see you, my friend. I appreciate it. Thanks for filling in for me, and keep up the great work, okay?
Always my pleasure, Brian. You stay safe. Right. We'll see you Monday.
Take care.
To you too. All right. You heard him, folks. That was the boss. That's the guy whose show I am filling in for. He said you should feel comfortable calling in and talking to me. I couldn't agree more. It's like, what are you afraid of? Well, we'll see. The number, if you would like to do that, is 702-221-7283. That's area code 702-221-SAVE, as in save. And as I always say, When it came time to save our democracy, we didn't. And now look at what we've got. 702-221-7283. Has anybody shown any desire to talk with the fill-in, the substitute? Oh, Justin's answering the phone. I'll take that as a yes. And you know what? If we don't get to the Jimmy Kimmel stuff I had lined up because we have phone calls, I'd rather hear your take on stuff. I can always do this tomorrow. The story ain't going away. And let me just say, this Jimmy Kimmel story is a lot bigger and has a lot more consequences down the road than perhaps a lot of people are giving it. It's not just a late night host or comedian being dumped. What it is fascism, folks, in its purest form. 221-7283 is a caller number. I guess people are lining up. Justin's been on the phone for the last few minutes. Don't answer another one. He's answered another one. Well, that's cool. Well, when you get a minute, we'll start. Why don't we start with Susan? Yep. Okay, we're going to start with Susan. You're first up. Thanks for calling.
Hey, I've been trying to call in for a couple of days, and I just want to say what's happening in America is getting. Susan, he just said we're going to start with Susan. Yep. This is getting so out of hand and so out of control. I'm tired of the division that's happening. You know, I did see the Pierce Morgan show, and I will tell you right now, oh my gosh, where do I even start? Because this angers me so much.
Yeah.
And now, you know, what happened in Mississippi, you know, it was a college student, you know, an African-American college student who was hung, both arms broken, both legs broken. We're losing our First Amendment, and this is getting ridiculous. Why can't we be in America where Americans came together as of 9/11, regardless of the race? And my husband's family is a military family. I support our military troops, and by God, his family would be so upset right now.
Yeah.
And this is not America. This is a total dictatorship. And I am going to tell you right now, this hurts me because the day of, you know, Charlie Kirk's
shooting,
it just hurts.
Yeah. If I can answer, in fact, you just answered your own question. You said, why can't we be an America that unites? Because the head of the country, to whom that job falls, to whom that responsibility falls, is not a uniter. Trump loves the chaos. He pits his own people against one another. He doesn't care about us liberals any more than he cares about his own people. He likes that chaos. He likes that conflict. He's the kind of person who has to put other people down in order to make himself feel good. And when he's at the top of the country, the last thing on his mind is unity, that's why we are where we are. And the fact that there's this gigantic right-wing propaganda in fascist hate media that keeps brainwashing people into hating liberals, nothing is going to change. And this is the thing I want to do a big bit on tomorrow. Nothing is going to change until the media reality changes.
Exactly, because I'm going to tell you right now what's going to be next is are they going to cancel Saturday Night Live, because Saturday Night Live has done some skits on Trump as well.
Yeah.
Are they going to be next if they do one?
Yeah. Well, what about Seth Meyers? What about Jimmy Fallon?
Jimmy Fallon. I mean, you know, our First Amendments, they're gone as of right now.
Yeah. Well, isn't it ironic? Charlie Kirk liked to paint himself, and not, unjustly so, but he liked to paint himself as a paragon of free speech. He liked giving it, and he didn't mind taking it back in return. And isn't it ironic that now that Charlie Kirk isn't here, if you dare exercise what he preached and exercise your right to free speech, you're going to get fired? I mean, it's just a sick anomaly.
You know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry what happened to Charlie Kirk. You're right. Nobody deserves to die or even be assassinated like that. you know, I feel sorry for his kids because now his kids are growing up being taught racism. And we're teaching our daughter that racism is not okay.
Yeah. And, you know, if I can just add to that, I've heard a lot of people say, I don't care so much about Charlie Kirk, but I care for his children. I understand that sentiment, but my take on that is I care more about everybody else's children to whom he was preaching poison.
Totally ignored the Colorado shooting.
Yeah, and the thing about they totally ignored the Colorado shooting. The Colorado shooting, I mean, I'm to the point now as a mother, and I feel like, am I going to end up having to hire a bodyguard that's armed to follow my daughter around school just to make sure that she's safe?
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, Susan, I appreciate you checking in. I share your sentiment. You take care, okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. 702-221-7283 is the number, 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Ken. You're next. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
On another topic, which is going to be just as critical, a few months back, I got a notice from my insurance provider that I should go get the MMR booster because I'm 63 and at high risk.
Right.
Well, between the time they mailed that out and I went and got my booster, they don't cover it anymore because the brainworm canceled it.
Bobby
So
Brainworm.
now people of my age are going to start dying from measles and because of the brainworm.
Yeah, I know. Well, again, this is why history should not, and I would venture to say will not be kind to this administration. When Trump,
Well, it's 1939 Germany right now.
yeah, when Trump chose his cabinet ministers, the goal wasn't to pick the person most qualified. It was to pick the person most loyal to him. And I said for months leading up to last year's election, if Trump is elected again, he will govern on the lies and conspiracy theories he's been spreading for years. This is the anti-vax conspiracy theory with Bobby Brainworm as a secretary. I mean, it's just a disgusting situation. They weren't chosen for their expertise.
And he just lost Baby Goebbels.
Baby Goebbels, who's that?
Kirk.
Oh,
you in the hay. Joseph Goebbels?
Oh, yeah, I know who Joseph Goebbels is, but when you said baby, see, when you mentioned Goebbels, I've always called Stephen Miller Little Hitler, when in all honesty, he's more like Little Goebbels. So
yeah,
that's why
I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
Even his hair don't like him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, I don't know what to tell you. I feel for you. The situation should not exist. But that's the problem when the American people are stupid enough to elect someone who is just manifestly unfit and unqualified for any political office, let alone the highest in the land.
Well, I could pay for the shot. I could afford it. But I think all the people who can't and don't get it.
Yeah, I know.
They're at risk. And they just don't give
a rat's ass.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate your call. You take care.
Have a good day, sir, and you're doing an excellent job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You take care. 221-7283 is the call-in number. That's area code 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Albert. You're next. Thanks for calling.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I've been trying not to go crazy because 10 days ago I actually called into the show when Brian was behind the monitor, was behind the mixer, and I was making fun of Charlie Kirk, but I did not realize what would happen 48 hours after that, because this crap is getting crazy, and I'm trying not to cuss here because it's been very crazy. But I have to go up on a rant if you don't mind. I'm really sorry.
Rant away, my friend.
To all of you MAGA people that are basically, trying to give us a election about morality, how are any of you any better than all the liberals that are talking about Charlie Kirk's death? Because here's the thing. Every single one of you voted for this disgusting piece of trash human being, if he even is a human being, Donald freaking Trump, the racist orange orangutan who the hell are any of you people to give us a lecture about morality? Because all of you were well, not all of you, but a good majority of you were celebrating, Paul Pelosi getting beaten up by a guy with a sledgehammer. All of you people that, obviously love Joe Arpaio. I happen to live in the city of Phoenix, Arizona, but you know what? That's another story. That's another time for another story. But what really pisses me the frick off is that now they want to change the name of the freeway here in Phoenix to the Charlie Kirk Memorial Highway. Yes, I understand. I completely understand, the pain that some of these people are feeling. I completely understand that. However, I feel bad for his family, but that's more disrespectful to me more than anything else. You know what? That's a lot more disrespectful to Charlie Kirk more than anything else. Making money off of his name. So all of you people that voted for Donald Trump last November, none of you are any Americans. You ought to form your own freaking country in another freaking island, and make your own stinking country and live in it. Because I'm sure that will make all of you happy.
Wow, that was a rant, I must say. And the only thing I would add to that is someday you're going to have to tell me how you really feel.
Oh yeah, I would. If this was satellite radio, this would be a different story. But all the people that I know that voted for Trump, they're all get to me.
Yeah, well, a lot of family relationships have broken up because of that very reason. I mean, it's hard when you see this country's democracy being flushed down the toilet. It's hard to find commonality with people who are championing it, who are okay with it. And a lot of them, here's the thing. Well, I'll wait till you get off the phone. I appreciate you calling in, but I might have to do a bit of a mini rant myself.
Let's hear it. Do it.
Okay, thanks for calling. No, the thing is, a lot of these people, the one question I hear asked so many times on the radio is, how can people still support him? And again, this goes back to the major rant I maybe want to get into tomorrow. And it has to do with the media. These people isolate themselves inside this right-wing propaganda, fascist hate media, and they don't know who and what Trump really is. And if it's a story too big that their media can't hide it, like his 34 felony convictions, what do? Oh, the investigators were liberal, the prosecutors were liberal, attorney general is liberal, judge is liberal, his assistant is liberal, the jury is liberal. It's a hoax. It's a witch hunt. And these people, for some reason, are stupid enough to keep buying this. The number of times they've had to buy it's a witch hunt and a hoax card, it's like, don't you ever get to the point where you say, maybe it's him? Maybe the 4,000 lawsuits he had against him before he got into politics was him? Maybe he's not this golden-haired, I don't know, avatar of Rocky and Superman. Maybe he really is a dirtbag. And I would really love for a MAGA to call in today and defend what he did and said about Charlie Kirk when he was asked how he was holding up after the death of his friend he loved so much. Charlie Kirk. Pretty good, I think. By the way, you see my ballroom over there? They've been trying to get one for 150 years. I was the only one who could do it. I'm great. Screw Charlie Kirk. How do you defend that? How do you not see there's something seriously wrong with the makeup of this guy? That he's asked about someone who just died. We saw it on TV. We saw the blood gushing. Trump saw it. And what's his response? My ballroom. How can you keep supporting it? See, you're listening to this show. You're not inside your media bubble and echo chamber. You just heard the truth. You heard him ignore the guy he loves and start blabbering on about his ballroom. How do you defend that? How do you ignore these little gems of truth that manage to seep through your Trump firewall? I would love to know. 221-7283 is our call-in number. That's area code 702-221-SAVE. Let's go back to the phones and we will talk to Nancy. You're next. Thanks for calling. Nancy, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you.
Sure.
It's amazing we are having all this talk about a jerk. And it seems like we're forgetting all the school shootings. We're forgetting about what's happening in Mississippi and North Carolina, these people getting lynched. and they're trying to cover it up. And the guy in North Carolina that got lynched lives in Illinois, and he's a truck driver. That's the only reason he was there.
Right.
And they're claiming he went to Walmart and bought the rope and went and hung himself. We know better. We're not stupid.
Yeah, I understand.
Those things,
Go ahead. I'm
those
sorry.
things need more coverage.
Oh, I understand completely, Nancy. But let me offer this, not as a rebuttal, but maybe devil's advocate in some sense. I don't think at least I hope it's not as much that we are ignoring these other stories that you're bringing up. I hope it's not so much that as it is we are understanding the ramifications of Charlie Kirk's death. Yes, all of us on the left and those of us who pay attention know that Charlie Kirk was a bad person. However, what his death is now causing is the biggest story in this country. If you say something people don't like, Justin showed me a tweet when he got here earlier of someone he knows that works here in town, and what he said was mild. It was not fireable at all, but he was fired. I mean, if they can fire Stephen Colbert, if they can fire Jimmy Kimmel, those are big international stars. The little guy doesn't stand a chance. This is how democracy dies. So I hope it's not.
I understand that.
I understand. Good.
I totally understand that. And no, does anybody realize that these lynches started after his death?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's hard to put two and two together to figure out that that's somehow connected. That these idiots, these KKK members now have been given a green light to do things that's just beyond belief.
Yeah. I hear you.
We've got to keep that in the news as well. We've got to keep talking about sensible gun laws.
Oh,
we've got to keep talking about
Nancy
lynchings that are happening, because if we don't, it's just going to get worse.
I hear you, Nancy. I agree with you. But again, I will add, right now, the fight we have on our hands is that we need to keep the channels open so that we can discuss the topics you brought up. Because right now, I had a whole thing I was going to do today. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Our media is being swallowed up by the aforementioned right-wing disinformation behemoth. So we need to be able.
I agree.
Yeah. So before we can
stop.
discuss these issues you brought up, we have to make sure that we at least can still do it. But I got to run, Nancy. I appreciate your call. You're a sweetheart. I agree with what you're saying. 221-7283 is the number. Area code 702. Mark, you're next. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
I have never voted for a Republican. From the first year I was able to vote up until the present. And well, first let me mention that for that guy, I don't even want to mention his name. He was a dirtbag, and his wife is a dirtbag. I do feel bad for his children because they could grow up to be, okay, just like the one who said alternate facts. Her daughter actually disavows her mother, and I forgot her name.
Kellyanne Conway.
Right.
Yeah.
Her daughter disavowed Kellyanne.
Oh, her daughter's a hoot.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do feel very bad for the kids, but his wife and him, I couldn't give two, what. Next, I get a lot of my info, I should say all of my info, from a guy by the name of Les Parness. And he has a great podcast. He has a Substack. A lot of people come on the show. And he stated that the mainstream media has no time to talk to him. And he stated because they're afraid. And I've been yelling my head off about what is happening, and everything I had mentioned is happening, but they're afraid to put me on the show because Trump will attack them. And I disagree with Brian stating that it was a joke what happened to Kimmel. That's not a joke. We are not heading to a fascist state. We are in it.
Oh, I agree.
People
And
got
by
to
the way,
understand this is a fascist country.
Right. By the way, Mark, you and I
also have one more thing to say, sir.
Oh, okay. I was going to let you say it. I just want to pipe in.
Sure, go ahead. I'll let you say it.
Yeah. All I was going to say is I know Brian probably as well as a lot of other people. When he said it was a joke what happened to Kimmel, he didn't mean a joke, ha ha. He meant a joke as in aberration.
I understand that, but let's use the right terminology. It's fascist. It's a fascist country,
Absolutely.
nothing less.
I said that earlier.
Now,
that's why I say the consequences from this is one of the, I don't know if it's one of the unintended consequences of Charlie Kirk's death, but it certainly is the consequence. You know, what he championed himself to be is now being taken away. Free speech.
Now, I'm gonna put a lot of where we're at, a lot of the blame on the Democrats.
Yep.
This is coming from Lev Parnas. The DNC is nowhere to be found. Okay.
No.
And according to Lev Parnas, the Democratic Party is, because he stated that Stephen Miller had said this, is going to be labeled as a terrorist organization. We will do it, and we will cut off their funding of all donors. Now, I believe this is going to happen. And what happens when the Democratic Party is labeled a terrorist organization?
I'll tell you what will happen, Mark.
Will that finally wake them up? Will that wake them up?
I'll tell you what will happen if the Democratic Party is labeled a terrorist organization. They will sit down and they will write a sternly worded letter.
Exactly.
And they might even use the word heck once or twice in the letter. That's how furious they will be. Mark, I appreciate your call, buddy. I've been saying this for years, that the Democrats constantly bring a knife to a gunfight. It's an old saying. It came to be for a reason. Why Democrats decided to embrace that particular saying, it's not a good one. When you take a knife to a gunfight, it doesn't usually end up well for you. Don't embrace that line. I don't know. It just drives me nuts. And that's one of the reasons why I stopped doing this show. I couldn't stand being in Trump's muck and filth for 4 more years. I also couldn't stand standing by watching the Democrats do what they're doing. I mean, it's just, and I'm a Democrat. I'm a loyal Democrat. I'm a liberal. But I got to tell you, there's a reason they lost. It's because they're perceived, and not unjustly so, as being weak. 221-7283 is a caller number. Let's go to Paul in the UK. You're next. Thanks for calling.
Hi there. Hi. I hope you can hear me okay. I've had some problems with connections.
Paul, I not only can hear you, I've heard you call Brian, and I'm impressed every time you do.
It's very kind of you. I just want to call because I listen to obviously a lot of American podcasts, and I'm both fascinated and horrified what's been happening over the last 10 years.
Right.
I was listening to Parker today, and one of his, as you know, he only debates with MAGAs. And this lady, who was quite intelligent, her logic was to separate Trump's character from his policies. Well, he says, okay, maybe he is a rapist, but he's still got good policies. And this is so stupid. And the reason why I'm saying it's so stupid is this, is somebody who is amoral and has no moral compass and is completely self-centered, is guided by his own personal needs and wants. And he is not looking after you, he's looking after himself. And this is clearly evident, isn't it? Isn't it clearly evident in the way he behaves? Like the Charlie Kirk thing, the Kimmel thing. He's his good friend. Within 3 seconds, he's talking about the damn ballroom. This guy's totally self-centered.
Oh.
He would sacrifice his own children for $1 million.
I know. The funny thing is, and this is the part that amazes me, I know that the MAGA faithful a lot of times aren't made aware of what's going on with Trump. But certain things like this, they hear. Like, for example, I played that clip today. I am begging for a MAGA to call in and defend that. So far, none has. I would like to ask, what is it in your brain that you're able to separate the true negativity from the false positivity. Because all the things you think are great about Trump is just propaganda. The stuff you just heard me play, that's real. He said it. How do you defend that? But so far, no MAGA's called in.
Well, I think I said this to Brian before. When I hear MAGA's debate Parker or Dean, which is good shows, they never win.
Yeah.
They never have facts on their side. They never have facts on their side. They can't produce. Trump's a good businessman. No, he's not. 5 bankruptcies, 3 casinos, blah, blah, blah. He inherited equivalent of $400 million.
Yep.
That's anybody would look rich with that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they never have facts on their side. Trump's a good guy. He looks after us. He's a rapist. Rapists don't tend to look after other people.
And, I would add to that, if you think Trump's a good guy and he cares about you, look at how he completely dismissed Charlie Kirk so that he could brag about his ballroom. And you think he cares for you? How many different kinds of stupid do you have to be?
Yeah, and another thing is Trump is so dumb. He hasn't even got the self-awareness not to say shit like that. Excuse me, not to say stuff like that.
I know.
He hasn't got the self-awareness. You think, look, mate, give him 10 seconds of sympathy at least. Roll to 20 and, go, but don't do 3 seconds and straight onto the ballroom. Do the ballroom later.
I know.
He's so dumb. He doesn't even know what he sounds like.
It's not even that he's dumb. It's just that he is not just a narcissist. He is a malignant narcissist. He has gotten to the point where that's all he's capable of. What he did in that response to Charlie Kirk, that's him. That's who he is. He can't be anything else.
Yeah. And in itself, in that one statement, that should disqualify him. And I say this to my brother who lives in America. He says about 30 disqualifying things a day.
Yeah.
If a decent politician, an Obama or a Biden or any of them said one of those things that he says 30 times a day, they would be pushed out.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your
level of tolerance.
I know it's frustrating beyond belief. I appreciate you calling. I look forward to talking to you again. We'll talk tomorrow if you can squeeze it in. Hey, thanks for calling. 221-7283 is the number. Terry, you are next. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Doug.
Hi.
Hi. Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. But have I told you about my ballroom lately?
Oh, God. Yeah. Right after the election, starting in January, I was inspired to start journaling the next 4 years because I was inspired by an anonymous quote that I saw on my newsfeed that said, "Dear outside world, please accurately document our history for the next 4 years because it will not be accurately documented within."
Yeah.
And I'm doing this project for my grandchildren because I honestly feel that I have no idea when they're fully grown what information they will have left to read that's actually accurate.
Yeah.
So this is how I also get my anger out, is by journaling every day. And I want to read something just quickly out of something that I wrote on September 10th.
Go ahead, journal me.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's how I do it. And I put accurate information here using accurate, resources and information. And I say, for those who voted in this evil man, look what you have done. Are you satisfied? What is the statement you're trying to make? Is your life better? Are you happy that as each day goes by, your vote has triggered the disintegration of our country? You align yourselves with hate groups. You want that evil man and his regime to deconstruct the Constitution that so many fought for since its inception. Tell me why. I want to know. Why are you so filled with hate? Why are you weaponizing our flag? Why do you weaponize religion to fit some kind of white Christian nationalist movement that is exclusive to your dream of making America white again? I don't even know who you people are anymore. Tell me why.
And not to be a Debbie Downer, but if you ask them those questions like, are you satisfied you voted for him? Is your life better? I guarantee you, dollars to donuts, the majority of them would say, yes, he's fixed Washington, D.C. He's building a ballroom. These people have been so brainwashed by this right-wing media, of which the granddaddy is Fox Noise, that they believe that their lives are better even when they're not. So, your thoughts are excellent and they are true, but these people have a way of conveniently ignoring the truth, even when it's slapped right in their face.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking my call.
Well, I appreciate you calling. You take care. 702-221-7283 is the number. There's a couple of things I saw on the YouTube chat a while ago, and I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. Someone said, I'd give credit too, but the chat goes so fast it would take me like 10 minutes to scroll up. Someone said, by the way, Brian grew a mullet if you're just tuning in. That's good. I like that. The other one I liked was Doug Basham, more like Doug Fascism. Now, see, that's an interesting comment. First of all, I mean, it's got to be a dumb MAGA to call someone as far on the left as I am a fascist. No, fascists are on the far right. Communists are on the far left. It's like when you hear Trump, these are communist, fascist, Marxist, socialist. He's just throwing out words. He doesn't know the actual definition for any of them. It's just a bunch of words that he knows is basically, fascist, Marxist, communist, socialist. I mean, he's reading the room. They're not the sharpest crayons in the box. Okay, who are we going to next, Justin? Huh? Democratic MAGA. Well, that's interesting.
Me.
Democratic MAGA, you're next.
Excellent. I'm the number one caller on the show.
Well, okay, to be determined.
Okay, so my question to you, everything you're saying is true, but why are the
thanks for
Democrats
calling.
polling at the lowest numbers in the history of polling? Why are Republicans signing up more new voter registration than Democrats by 5 points?
Oh, let me give you the answer.
And then you said, real quick, let me just give you a couple of quick things, and you can respond.
Okay.
You said Trump just picks people who aren't qualified. Do you know Joe Biden said, I'm not going to pick the best person I can pick for vice president. I'm going to pick the best black woman. So if you're a white man, you have no shot, even if you were Jesus Christ yourself. Nope, I am picking the best black woman. So he does the same thing. Sam Britton, they had to cater to that demographic.
Okay, let me interrupt because I did a whole bit on Sam Britton. Yes, was that the guy with the red hair and
he was bald. He had lipstick. He was luggage.
I did I've forgotten his name, but Sam Britton. I did a whole thing on him. What was he? The Secretary of Energy?
Yeah, like nuclear energy.
Oh, exactly. If you do if you do some research on that guy, he was overqualified for that job. Why he looked the way he did, why he stole luggage out of airports is beyond me. But if you look at his qualifications, he was the guy. He was a major expert in the world of nuclear stuff. So yeah, he ended up bombing out with his stealing luggage. But there's no question he was qualified. As far as Biden saying, I'm not going to pick the most qualified, he didn't say that. He said, I'm going to pick. He said, I'm going to pick
black woman.
He said, I'm going to pick a black woman. But I hate to tell you this, but if you look at his vice president, she is manifestly more qualified than Donald Trump.
But super unpopular. If we're not buying what you're selling, why did Trump is the worst candidate in the history of the United States?
Yes, but you're missing the point. Democrats are worse.
Exactly.
That's the only way an unqualified, unfit disaster of a human being like Donald Trump can win. If the alternative is worse, and I don't mean worse policy-wise, I mean worse messaging. If you're willing to sit there and be this unfit monster's doormat, That's what the people are going to see you as, a doormat. And they'd rather be
here's the
led
thing,
by an
though.
unfit mouthpiece than a doormat.
Well, we were tired of being lied to.
By
you
whom?
Look at me and, the Democrats. When Kamala Harris said, she lied to me. She said, there is no problem at the border. Don't look at me and lie. Don't tell me Joe Biden is sharp as a tack.
Okay.
We're watching this. You're lying to me.
Okay, I have to tell you this, that this is getting really old. Yes, we all saw that Joe Biden had lost his fastball. She was his vice president. It was her job to support the president, not come out and say, will you please drop out? You know, as far as the comment at the border, first of all, neither party is blameless. And secondly, all the stuff that you are told by the right-wing media, who makes this the most important story in the world when it's not, aren't true. These stories of Fox going down and patrolling the border and finding Chinese nunchuck-bearing people crossing the border, it's not true. And the thing I want to ask, have you listened to this entire show? Did you hear the soundbite of what Donald Trump said when he was asked how he was doing recovering from Charlie Kirk's murder?
Yeah.
How do you defend that?
Is that the biggest? I mean, come on.
Yes, it is. Because it is who. Yes, it is big. It is big because it's who he is. It's what's leading to all these people getting fired. It's what's leading to our losing our democracy, losing our free speech. Because
see, that's a false narrative too.
No, it isn't.
He's been president for 5 years, and you keep saying it's Nazi Germany. We're going to lose our democracy. It's a threat to democracy. Nothing's changed.
Really?
He's not a.
So let me ask you. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. If Kamala Harris had won the election and Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel made fun of her, would they be fired? No, they wouldn't.
Well, that's not the president.
That is losing. That is losing your democracy, friend.
Why didn't Disney go to court and say, no, we're not firing him? You can't force. Disney fired him.
Yeah, I understand that.
So
what's your point?
Your beef with it's Disney.
Is your point that it's being run by a liberal?
Well,
back to my point. Democrats are weak and feckless.
Exactly. So
like I told the caller earlier, if the Democratic Party ends up being called a terrorist organization, our Democrats in office will sit down and write a sternly worded letter.
Exactly. Well, let me ask you this: 2 quick questions. I know you're up against it. One. What is, for the midterms, they're going to get slaughtered. What is your message for the midterms? What's the Democratic message other than everything anti-Trump?
One word.
What do you tell?
One word. Fight.
What does that mean?
Okay. Okay. By fighting, I mean accentuate what Americans are losing and give them examples.
Yeah, but what are you for? Like, and coming up in the next presidential election, what candidate is out there? There's nothing.
I'll tell you someone that I've supported for years and still am,
and
even though
Jasmine Crockett like Brian does.
No. I'm going to say Gavin Newsom.
Yeah. I could see he's got a shot.
Yep.
Only because he became moderate.
Well, I think that was short-lived. The way he is trolling Trump on the internet, that was golden. Yeah. Plus the fact that, this shouldn't matter, but it does. Gavin Newsom is as smooth as silk. You can't back him into a corner. Sean hasn't, and he tried on Fox. He wasn't successful. He's got a great head of hair that shouldn't matter, but it does. I think he's got a real shot.
Yeah, and you know what? His interview with Charlie Kirk was fabulous. You had to listen to it.
Yeah, I hear you. In fact, I did listen to it, but I got to run. Like you said, I'm up against it. I appreciate you calling. I want to go to someone I've heard call this show before. I think she goes by the name of Darlene, the Mega Destroyer. Darlene, you're next. Thanks for calling.
Hey, Doug.
Hey, Darlene.
Now, first, let me tell you, we want to know one thing before we get talking. Where's Leonard?
Where's Leonard?
I thought he was supposed to be. Yeah, we all wanted to know because we thought he was going to be like a co-host with you.
Oh, well, that wasn't my understanding of what was going to happen. But so I imagine Leonard's at home probably relaxing and enjoying himself.
But anyway, I love Leonard, but let me tell you, Doug, I love you. I already love you. You are great. Brian did a good thing by putting you on here. And then we want to say a shout out to Brian. Brian, you know we love you. And I'm going to tell you, now I'm getting ready to talk about Riley Gaines. Doug, I seen most of the interview with that, it was, or the debate between Brian and Riley Gaines. Well, first of all, can I say something to her?
Sure.
Riley Gaines, I didn't even know who the hell you were. So let me get that out there for first. But second of all, Riley, you are nothing but an ignorant bitch. And guess what? That's my freedom of speech. And I'm going to say it again, girl. You're a bitch. And if you think for 1 minute that you destroyed Brian, think again. Because all you did was do what I'm doing now is get louder and louder and louder. Brian was so polite because honestly, he ripped you to shreds being quiet. But
right.
All you wanted to do was just get loud. So I got a challenge for you, girl. Come and talk to me.
Yeah.
Let's see who can get louder. Because I welcome you any damn time.
And I got to tell you, Darlene, my money's on you.
I hope so. Because
by the way, I
never heard of that bitch.
By the way, I've never heard Brian ask you this all the times you've called in. What are you wearing? I'm kidding. I just sorry. I said, what are you wearing?
A nightgown, because unfortunately I have to live in my house because I'm in a wheelchair and I don't get to get out much because my husband works and I don't really have too much family around here. So yeah, I watch everything. Yeah. And I got something to say to the last caller. You need to go do your research. You are so ignorant, and I'm so damn tired of Republicans. All they got to say is, what about Biden? Is that all you got, dude? That you sound so stupid. And I want you to call back when Brian's here too. But Doug, you are so awesome because that dude needs to listen to what you said because what you said is true.
Well, Darlene, I appreciate it. And if I was there with you now, I'd give you the biggest hug I could.
Well, and one more thing, next time bring your piano because I know you're a great piano player and we'd like to hear you play.
How did you know that?
Because my husband and I do our homework. We want to know what's the truth and what's not. And people, they say something online and they just automatically think it's true. You got to do your research, people. Research. That way, believe me, that last guy didn't know nothing.
as the old saying,
what about that?
As the old saying goes, he didn't know shit from Shinola.
I'm telling you. Well, anyway, Doug, I know there's other callers. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Hey.
Ryan, we miss you, and we'll see you back Monday. Bye.
Thanks, Darlene. I appreciate it. Oh, my Lord. By the way, that shocked me. Bring your piano. I mean, how she knew. I studied piano, classical piano, for 14 years and got my degree in it. And I was actually in training to become a classical pianist. The problem was the size of my hands didn't match the size of my desire. And some pieces were so difficult to play. And by the way, I'll tell you who my favorite classical pianist of all time is. I could talk piano stuff for hours. Darlene, you opened a dangerous door there. But we'll go back to the phones. 221-7283 is the number, 702 area code. Todd, you're next. Thanks for calling.
So I'm just I know it's like last minute. Just Darlene Magister. I'm from Canada. I am on your side, sister. You're fantastic. It's all I wanted to say real quick, and cheers to you.
Well, thank you. Where'd you say you're from? Okay. You said Canada? Oh, okay. I was going to ask him whereabouts in Canada. I've traveled all across it. Back to the phones we go, and we will talk to. Thank you for your compliment, sir. Did I tell you about my ballroom? 221-7283. Donatella, you're next. Thanks for calling.
Hey. Glad to have you on the radio today. It's very enjoyable to listen to you.
Thank you.
But I have a couple of comments to make. And first of all, I want to let you know that I am a left-leaning liberal, and I am by no means weak. I mean, Darlene, I will tag team with you any day of the week. I mean, we'll go after that woman and take her down.
See, that's the thing. The Democratic Party, our elected officials, need more Darlenes and Donatellas.
That's exactly right.
Less Dick Durbins. Less. I could go down the list.
Dick Durbin was, he's my Illinois senator, and now that he's retiring, he's calling them all out. And, it's a little too late, and I'm sad about that. But, the other side of the thing is we have Bost, and he's a crap. But I think that Newsom would make a wonderful president. I think that my governor, Fitzer, would make a wonderful president. He is not going to take crap. I live in Illinois, and we're a blue state, thank God. And the other things that I have to say is that, I wanted to talk to you, and this is a little bit off the subject, but, J.D. Vance is as crooked as the rest of them are. And the Epstein files go much deeper than this sad thing that have happened to these women. I mean, there are probably people in this country that they bought here, I'm sure illegally, that have never went through citizenship and are evil people doing evil things throughout our government. And, when we come across them, when people, Trump, I absolutely abhor him. I hate everything about him. There is nothing redeeming. There's no redeeming qualities. I mean, he is just a bully. And, I worked very hard all of my life to develop these programs that, Planned Parenthood. I mean, I march in these parades. I'm very active, and I'm mad. I am furious that he comes in there and starts tearing everything apart because he's so jealous of the Kennedys. He's so jealous of Biden. He's so jealous of our dear President Obama, who I went to Mississippi and I was down there where all these people that are so idiotic that don't know these social programs are what are keeping them afloat, the things that we all fought for. And I'm tired and I'm sick and tired of it. And I live in the armpit of Illinois right now. I mean, lived in Chicago. I'm a paralegal. I'm a Social Security disability advocate. I have stood up for people all of my life, and I'm not going to stop just because I'm getting older. I'm back in school again because I feel the tides are changing.
And by the way, immigration. I have to jump in here. After speaking to you for the length of time I have, you are not getting older. You are getting better.
Well.
And stronger.
Sweetheart, you know how to smooth talk.
You guys do. I'm single.
I mean, I do love that name, Doug. I used to have a crush on a boy named Doug Danko back in third grade, and I've never seen him again because because
sounds like a mobster.
But anyway,
Doug
really?
Danko.
I did not know that. Well, I mean,
by the way, there's a group from Canada. I don't know if they're still around. I know some of them are not still with us. Called The Band, and there was two brothers in there called the Danko brothers. I actually dated the cousin of one of the Danko brothers. So it's kind of ironic you bring up Danko.
Wow,
right after Darlene brings up
the unusual name.
Well, right after Darlene brings up the piano. I said earlier to start the show that I was impressed with the community Brian had put together and the quality and number of the callers. And you guys are just proving it. You're killing it.
Oh yeah, I call a lot. My name is unusual, so it kind of stands out.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to tell you that if they come down here, well, I remember when Trump was in office the first time around, we have a Mexican restaurant here, and they came here and they took up Carlos, who was one of our favorite beloved people that worked with me to help raise money for people that were waiting for the disability. I had many fundraisers. And they would have, like a night where they would celebrate, and people would come in and they would donate a percentage of this, of their proceeds from the day's worth of dinner. Well, anyway, they picked up Carlos and they took him to Kansas City, Missouri, and they were gonna get him and everybody wanted him to be, deported, and they didn't want to say anything because they were afraid that would disrupt the Mexican restaurant. But I was like, are you kidding me? So I started a letter driving thing, and I called Kansas City and talked to the judge's, little person as judge clerk. And I talked to her, and anyway, we got him released. And the next day he and his family were on Good Morning America. So when I say that I put my money where my mouth is, I do. And I will always stand up for the truth. And I'm on Facebook. If there's anybody out there that is truly a fighter, a part of the revolution, of the resistance. I mean, they can look me up, and I love to, have friends. I'm a content, person on Facebook.
Right.
But I'll just tell you that I'm, really excited about this. I love Brian. I love the show. And I love Darlene and some of the regulars. And this man that called from the UK had a very interesting perspective. But I just want to tell you also real quickly that the woman that's journaling for her grandchildren, so that they will, I think that she was a very eloquent speaker. And
Agreed.
I have so much respect because that is exactly what's going to happen.
I agree.
I mean, we have to turn back the clock. Let's throw these trolls out of our office.
I have to interrupt here before I forget. You were mentioning that you love Darlene, you love Brian. Was there anybody else you'd like to add to that list?
Well, I mean, I see a lot of people on Facebook, and I mean, of course, everybody the co-hosts that are always on there, I enjoy all of it. I listen every day.
I understand. Anyone else?
But yeah, well, no, I just want to tell you one quick thing that I had left off. When I was talking about J.D. Vance, he's got this company called Acreage, and, he's a part of it. And what they do is they go in and they buy up these farmlands in Arkansas and Alabama when the farmers, cannot sell their crops. So, guess what? Since we have all these tariffs and China's bought all their soybeans and everything from South America or some other place, and these farmers cannot sell these crops and they're rotting in the fields because they have no one to help them, get the crops out, so he's benefiting from that because he's still an investor in it. He still belongs. So now they're going in, now that these farmers are going to go bankrupt, they're going to go in and China is even buying the property. So how corrupt is that? Yep. I mean, these are things that I have fact checked. I have went back and looked.
And considering where he comes from, it is a travesty. I got to run. I love you. I appreciate you calling.
Okay. Thank you,
No
Doug,
problem.
and good luck. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That just didn't work, Houston. I mean, I did everything I could. Just couldn't get any love. That's okay. 221-7283 is the number. Frank, you're next. Thanks for calling.
How you doing, Doug?
Good. How are you?
It's a pleasure to talk, take my call. And, I've been thinking about this. They want to bring the racists to the left, but I look at it, they are mirroring the racism back to the Republican Party. It's like a double standard with them because what they say is truth, which is a lie. Right. And what we say is truth. They can't comprehend that. So you could talk, it's like talking a person off a building. You'll never get anywhere with, I want to commit suicide. I'm going to jump. That's the way the Republican Party is. You can talk to them until you're blue in the face. Yep. They will not listen to anybody.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm gonna have to cut you off. I have been so impressed with the calls we've had today. I think we might just start taking them earlier tomorrow because we still got a full board and we don't have a whole lot of time. So let's kind of do, not to bring up anything that just happened, but maybe a quick, no time for even more. No. Well, see? 1 minute? Oh. Huh? Oh, you want me to just stall for a minute? Justin says we got less than a minute, so I won't take anybody else. It wouldn't be fair. To the people who are still on hold, keep in mind, I haven't done this for 8 months. You would be fair in accusing me of not the best time management with calls today, but by tomorrow, I'll be a real seasoned, experienced pro. Oh, yeah. And I'll even say goodbye at the end of calls. But we'll squeeze more in today. I feel bad that we're leaving people hanging on the line. But I'll tell you, it's been a blast. I thank Brian for letting me do this. I especially I thank you guys for listening and calling. We will do it all over again tomorrow, hopefully with you. Until then, take care.
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn?